It's actually Thursday, and I'm filming the plot for Saturday, which is probably the first time I've ever attempted to not actually film it on the day that it's coming out. But Saturday is meant to be really, really good weather, and the last couple of Saturdays have been as well, and I found myself kind of indoors editing for the afternoon. So I'm trying to kind of get around that today by heading out here on Wednesday morning. It's not Thursday, I don't know what I'm talking about. Hi, it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday. I'm just having a mare, sorry. Yeah, it's Wednesday morning, and then I normally work on a Wednesday morning, but I'm going to be working in the afternoon. Actually, you're going to hear this again on the vlog because I'm also filming a bit for the vlog this morning, so I'm just not going to go on about it. Basically, we're here for a plot tour. It's mid-April and the sun's shining. Let's go and have a look at what's changed from March because it looks quite different. Rather lovely. And straight outside the shed we have the YouTube subscriber designed Woodland Bed, which is all coming along really nicely. I've got this really badly laid turf down here, which was spares from another project that I did, but it's been down there 3 weeks and it seems to have taken mostly, so we'll just mow that over and it'll be fine. The apple is looking really happy. I haven't seen this much blossom on it for years. And then along this wall, so the clematis has come back. That looked like it might not early in the year, so that was good. My Akebia cornata is just looking so pretty. The smell of this is just something else as well. Beautiful, so I'm hoping this is going to really bulk up and cover the majority of that. Coming around this way, I haven't managed to get rid of the dead marguerite, so that's all looking a bit scrappy. But the mulberry is coming back to life. Good, ready for another season of manic picking. I'm going to start in the greenhouse. So we've actually still got the bubble wrap up from winter in here, and it's probably going to come off this weekend, but it has made such a difference to the temperatures in here. Most of our seedlings are still at home, but we've got some stuff. So this is coriander. We've also got some dill on the go, and I'm not sure if this is just weeds from the compost or something actually coming up. Yeah, little pots of things that have survived the winter. We've got a couple of thymes that are ready to go out into that herb garden that I started in last week's vlog. And yeah, a couple of spare lettuces that couldn't fit in the bed. We've got some potatoes in here as well. These are all Red Duke of York, so we're hoping for a really early harvest on them. And then on the other side, we've still got those self-seeded poppies that I haven't managed to turf out yet. I've got to find a patch to put them. And then one of the dahlias has managed to sneak in here for an early start. This is the yellow cactus head type one. Yeah. Right, back outside, we have got... God, it's such a lovely day. I'm going to start with... Actually, no, let's have a look at the cold frame because I've got some stuff in here. Like I say, most of the stuff's still at home, but I've got bits and pieces in here. These are some spare strawberry plants that I've got plans for. They're going to be infilling some of the losses in the new strawberry bed as well. And then mostly this is leeks and spring onions ready to go in. They're so tough. They've been absolutely fine out here. This bed up here is mostly finished. These little radicchio that are planted at this end were planted between the Cavallonero that was up here. Cavallonero's finished now and gone, but they're still growing away quite nicely, so hopefully we'll get something off them. We've also got the green curly kale, and behind them is some blown Pak Choy, but they're going to be for the chickens. They'll love them. Next bed over, so these two beds were both brassica heavy this year. So we've got the tree cabbages, which are going to stay there for another maybe 4 years. But I'm sown some carrots under here. I don't know if you remember vlog maybe 2 weeks ago. They're all coming up. I've got one broad sown line and one narrow. So we'll see how that goes. There's also a little bit of sprouting broccoli in here that we just need to finish off really. No asparagus has appeared in the main asparagus bed yet. They arrived about this time last year, so everything's running quite behind this year, but the garlic chives are looking pretty lush. And then we've got some more of the transplanted normal chives along here. A bit sparse, but they'll bulk themselves out. So yeah, I haven't spied any asparagus yet along here. Although I may be telling a lie. I think I can see one just in there. Can you see it? It's a bit of a spindly one, but Right, these are outdoor potatoes. We've got a whole mix of varieties in here. This is all of them, apart from the pink fir apple, which have vanished. I don't know what, I've put them out to chit in my bedroom and they've just vanished, which is a bit of a worry really if I've got like just mouldy potatoes in my room somewhere. This is a beautiful piece of bindweed just about to climb up over the arch. So the rhubarb has finally got itself together and it's really starting to produce now. It's amazing how slow it was. This is the strawberry patch. Unfortunately, when the chickens came out, the first thing they did was race over here and dig them all out, and I didn't notice. So loads of them were buried and loads of them were just like bare rooted on the soil, and we've had all this cold weather, so they really haven't done too good. Some of them have taken, but I'm going to use what's in the cold frame to kind of infill as well. Yeah, so unfortunately rhubarb leaves are poisonous, so you don't want to eat them, but like when they're like this and they're coming out before they've let me struggle in here, before they've actually opened up, you just want to bite into that. Oh, it's gorgeous. Yeah, so this is the new asparagus bed. This is its second year and I was really pleased. We've got 10 crowns in here and they've all come up. So we've got 5 green and 5 purple and they're all showing. So we seem to have had 100% success with those, which is amazing. At the end of this bed, we've got last year's parsley, which is still fine to pick now, but it will kind of go to seed a bit later in the year, but we'll just let that happen, and that's okay. Next bed up, these 3 beds that coming up next are all going to be mainly brassicas this year. Currently they've got the field beans in, which are kind of making the nitrogen available, and the brassicas will really appreciate that. So yeah, that's 3 beds of field beans, and just at the end of this one is where I've just planted some parsley. That's a mix of flat leaf and curly. A bit like how I've got in the end of this one, so this is last year's parsley as well. I normally plant all the herbs right on the, sort of the end of the bed down the main path. Having a look at the fruit cage, I'm really pleased with the raspberries. They're coming back really lush, considering that we planted them last year and totally thought that they hadn't survived being planted because they just died almost immediately. And yeah, it was a struggle to get them to come back, but this year, and they've spread loads as well, which is what we were hoping they were going to do, so very pleased with that. Grapevine is coming back. You can see it's just starting to bud there. Very exciting. Tree cabbages. So I get so many questions about tree cabbages. They are something very specific that you can buy from real seeds, and they're a beautiful perennial cabbage leaf that you pick like a kale. But when I say perennial, like the one plant, although you can see how much I've been picking from this one, so that's the leaf nodes where I've been taking them off. Isn't it gorgeous? Actually, that's beautiful. But how you keep it going for 5 years, like this is actually one plant and it grows these big stems and then it produces these extra little ones, and now that one will grow up and become another big pickable stem. So you can see these are all like a mixture of different ages, and from right down in the base you can see it's like one plant and it's produced all these different stems. So that's how they work, and you have to be really on it with taking off the sprouting pieces to keep them going. These are purple sprouting broccolis. So you pick the tree cabbage sprouts like you do the purple sprouting broccoli, but the sprouting broccoli obviously doesn't last more than 1 year. The kalettes are blown after the chickens completely stripped them. All 4 of those gooseberries that I transplanted have survived and are looking really good. We've even got some little flowers on there. Can you see those? They're surprisingly pretty gooseberry flowers, actually, really nice. So I'm looking forward to some gooseberries this year. We're going to have to cover them with a bit more netting though. I'm going to come back to the tulips in a minute. You'll hear me talking muchly about them shortly. Right, at the bottom of the apricot tree, the hyacinths have gone over now, but they have been so beautiful for like a good month. They've been wonderful this year, so lovely. Still got some daffs coming along, and we've also got the first snake's head fritillary popping through here. I planted about 20 of them in this bed, and I think they got eaten almost immediately, so I'm happy with the one. I'm also really, really happy with the amount of pollination we had on the apricot tree. Can you see that baby furry apricot? Oh, it's so beautiful. We have had a bit of frost damage, like this one is fine. You see how it's really, really bright green. There are a couple which have gone brown. Do you see this one on the end here is like a dark colour? That one's going to fall off because of the cold. But although we do have some dark ones, there's still masses of green ones on there. So I have very high hopes this year. Fig tree, also we got some beautiful things under the fig tree. We've got these lovely thalia. Gorge. I love that little yellow centre. So pretty. And then there's these ones which are like, we've got a really shallow trumpet and a white splash at the back, which is lovely. A couple of muscari hiding in there, and again more hyacinths. And baby figs forming. I really hope we have a hot long summer this year. I really do. Make up for the cold spring. Let's have a look down the centre aisle. Hey Berta, what do you think? She really needs a bit of a makeover. So we have another tree cabbage in here. I've just got them dotted all over the place really, and that's the sprouts that I was talking about. So they flower and you just nip them off and eat them. They're delish. Got a load of auricula down here. I know you normally put them in like little individual pots and stuff, but I just have them dotted all over the place. I think they're lovely. Sweet little things. Rosemary is in flower. So last week, you know, I was talking about cutting back rosemary into dead wood. This is what we did to this one, but it was massive and it really needed to be sort of sorted out. So this is where I took the cutting from for the one that I planted outside the polytunnel. But you can see that one branch is still fine, so we're just going to try and keep that one bit alive. This is where I had the sweet peas growing last year, and I just let them drop all their pea seeds onto the ground after they'd finished flowering, and we do have a couple coming up, so that is exciting. Masses of Aquilegia just self-seeded all over the allotment. I've been pulling so much of it out. And the Sambucus nigrans looking beautiful, the black elder. It's gorgeous. I'm so looking forward to making stuff with that this year. More Aquilegia. That's a big boy. So the compost bins are slowly either filling up or emptying out. Leaf mould coming on fine. I need to give this a bit of water actually. But we've got loads of that this year. This is the ready compost. We're sort of 2/3 the way through using that. And look, the pear is flowering. I absolutely love pears. This is its first year in the ground. We planted it as a bare root last year. So excited. So the top bed, this bed really hasn't changed like all year. These lettuces are tough as old boots and they've been in. We've just been kind of picking from around the edges so they've stayed in. A couple of different sorts. We've got a little frilly one here. We've also got celery leaf, which is really great in soups, and then more radicchio. You see these ones look really healthy. I'll show you the ones in the polytunnel later. They look absolutely terrible. Peas, all coming up, looking good. Haven't had too many losses to mice or anything, so that the pre-sprouting of those peas has really, really helped. And lurking under here we have some really good looking red Pak Choy. Isn't that a magnificent colour? I think they're stunning. Really, really lovely. Yeah. So they're coming along nicely. We've got a little self-seeded volunteer fennel. Load of space in the middle of this bed still, and these are peas. The chickens just came in and I didn't catch them fast enough and they just ate them all on one side. So unfortunately we've got horseshoe shaped peas there, and the Monge 2, I managed to rescue them. Bloomin' chickens. Okay, tulips. Are these not like heart-stoppingly beautiful? I spend absolutely ages just sitting up here and looking at them. So these were the first to come out, the white ones. Looking much, I love that really dark stem on them. And then look at these. Aren't they just gorgeous? I love the variation in those petals. They're not just a single colour, they're sort of yellow and peach and apricot. And then have a look at these. Ooh, 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 gorgeousness. Can't wait to see these ones open. So we've got various, we've got some darker pink ones, we've got this one, which is like a lime green, really nice. And then there's a whole load up this end which are a bit behind, and I can't remember any of the ones I planted, so it's all a bit of a surprise. I mean, look at this chap. Yeah, look at the yellow centre inside these apricot ones. I love them. I love them. Right, okay, enough of that. Cherry tree. Under the cherry we've got some poppies and a California poppy just behind there, just lurking in there. This is all self-seeded stuff, obviously not the daffs, but all the other bits and pieces are self-seeded. And some cherry blossom on the way. This is its first year, a bit like the pear, so I'm pretty excited about that. And then the pond, I've just transplanted 2 really, really sad looking hydrangeas into here, see if they'll do anything. They're not having a great time. And look at this, I've never seen a buddleia like look so sad. They can normally survive anything, but it's just been so cold. Violas are happy though, little self-seeded chaps. And this is the Sacrificial Red Currant for the birds, flowering away happily. This is pretty exciting. Look at the irises. Oh, 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 oh. I just love irises. I think they are gorgeous. And when these purple ones are flowering and the flag irises in the actual pond, oh, it's just beautiful. This is the Marsh Marigold looking at its finest. A couple more Californian poppies just dotted around. And we've got this bucket over the gunnera. So we've got a gunnera in here, but it really doesn't like the cold. And it's a really, like, yeah, it's just having a hard time basically, so got the pot over it. These are the flag irises at this end of the pond, so they're bright yellow, so the combo of the purple and the yellow across here is just wonderful. These are the butomis, so they've got really beautiful pink like umbral flowers when they come out. And the water lily has survived the winter, which I am thrilled about, and so is Mum actually. That water lily is her baby. Okay, just one last look at the tulips. I promise I won't go on about them anymore. This is another bed of field beans. Up this end, we've got celery and celeriac. The celeriac we're still eating. One of those rows of celery we're going to let to go to seed for next year. Bit of spinach. This has been in here all year. It's starting to look a bit sad now, but we're still picking it for salad. And then next to that, we've got kind of the old chard plants, which we are working our way through. Mum with her yellow bucket inspecting the potatoes. Yeah, so chard, we've got to get on that really, but we've got masses of it growing elsewhere, so we really do need to just strip this bed out. Next over is the shallots and the garlic. I am so pleased with the shallots. They're looking fantastic. Look, they're really starting to split. I don't know if you remember my shallot revelation like earlier in the year or later last year, but look, they're really starting to do their thing and splitting. But we have had a couple of garlic casualties. Like, I don't know what happened to this one. It's just been bitten off at the base, completely bitten off, little teeth marks. So hopefully that doesn't happen to all the rest of them. But overall, really happy with what's going on in that bed. And this is the covered bed. I've just stripped out a whole load of turnips from in here, which we're going to eat as rapini and pick off what turnips we can. We've got chard at that end, and this stuff is like a dandelion chicory, and it is divine. And it's grown so well in that covered bed, so we've really got to eat that now because that bed needs to be cleared, ready for next things. Look at this, love. I don't know where this came from. It was amazing when all the hyacinths were in flower, that like bright pink, it was astounding. So this is kind of the flower bed, but we've got loads of little tiny bits and pieces dotted around in here. The Cox's orange pippin has survived, which I can't believe we moved it and it's coped, so, and it's got more flowers on it than I've seen for a long time. Honeysuckle is coming along nicely. Hopefully that's going to form a big screen. Another tree cabbage lurking in there. Loads of Californian poppies, bits and pieces. The sage that I planted out last week is still alive, as is the hyssop. Chives are just starting to form some buds. I love chive flowers. And the oregano is okay. That mint that I repotted, coming along just fine. As is the rosemary, which is the cutting from that one at the other end. So let's have a look inside the poly. As you can see, plenty chard. This is the radicchio that's really suffered being in the heat. We won't plant radicchio in here again. It was an experiment and it really hasn't enjoyed it. We've got chard coming out of our ears, which is not a situation I'm going to complain about. Some of these are bolted. Obviously it's been really hot in this poly and they're pretty cold weather things, but it has given us a really early soft crop, and this all needs to be stripped out by like the first week of May, so we're just basically eating our way through this stuff now. A couple of good looking lettuces in here. This is American spinach, or spinach americana. Really gorgeous, big, soft, tender, lovely leaves, great in salad and also cooked up. We have, this is some lamb's lettuce that it had gone to flower and I just cut the load off and we ate it, and I thought I'd leave it there, see what happens. Pak Choy's also bolting. It's been so hot in this polytunnel, but it's still looking good. We'll be eating that probably tonight. This is what the lamb's lettuce looked like before I cut it all off. Like I say, this whole place is being stripped out in like 2 weeks time, so we're just eating what we can from here now. This is an Iranian cress, really lovely, peppery in salad. And then that parsley that I transplanted from outside is still going strong. The parsley has been really successful in here actually. We're definitely going to do parsley and the chard in here next year. Talking of chard, this is the Lucullus, the massive leaves. I mean, and they're so soft, they're beautiful. This is a real winner. But I need to plant it less close together. Also another gorgeous lettuce. Only 2 survived the very early stages when I planted them out. We had loads of damping off, but those 2 survived and they're looking great. So yeah, that's sort of what we've got in here. We've got to eat all of this in the next couple of weeks. Ready for the tomatoes. Pretty exciting. Outside, a bare bed. This is where we had the chimidirapa, and before that we had the Facilia. Broad beans are looking fantastic. Like, had so many problems with these in the sense of they were too tall when we planted them out, and I thought they weren't going to survive, and then they all went black in the frosts. Then we had the bee issue where they were circumnavigating the pollination. But we've got beans, they're all looking good. So these are the tall ones, but even like the shorties, which were the ones I planted afterwards, are coming along beautiful. Loads of flowers. They're not the tidiest looking plants, but we should get a good crop off them, so I'm happy. The sorrel looked immaculate until the chickens were let out of their lockdown, and now it looks shredded. But that is the way of things. The lavender, oh, I can't get this to focus now, marvellous. The lavender has survived the winter, so hopefully that's it now for good. And we have this black currant, which we will be planting into the fruit cage once that whole section of Brassicas has kind of done its thing at the far end. Back to the apple trees outside the shed. I've never seen so much blossom on them. I'm just really happy. Really happy. Okay, April pot tour. Things are looking really good. I'm really happy. We've got loads at home, so I'm going to take you home now and show you what we've got going on there. Chilli department up in the bedroom. Everything's looking really fab up here. I'm really happy. They get all the morning light, so they're looking really strong. We have had a couple of casualties. I've been pinching out the tops of these as they get tall, so not all of these have been done, but like this one has. You can see it's just starting to make extra shoots. This one I'm going to do today. That needs to come out. But yeah, I'm just sort of working my way through them slowly. Look at this. These are just Verbena bonariensis. They really need to come out of these. But look, they're all sown at the same time. Look how teeny tiny the ones on this end are. I've also just repotted and topped my cosmos, so they're looking a bit distressed. Kohlrabi ready to go in. They're going to be going in this week. Cavilla Nero. There's a couple of other kales in there. I've got cabbages, Brussels sprouts, whole selection of stuff that all needs moving. Sunflowers. Tomatoes looking fantastic. They've got about another, 2-3 weeks in here before I move them up to the polytunnel. We've got lettuce seedlings, chard seedlings. There are some turnips and things behind there. Beetroot, sorry, you're looking through the back of a chair. Beetroot, that's 2 different types of beetroot. These are the second wave kohlrabi, 2 different varieties. Tiny little seedlings are tree spinach. Then I've got some cucumbers. And I've also got loads of sowing to do. So let me get this right. This is coming out on Saturday. Yeah. So this is going to come out on the Saturday. And then on Tuesday, yeah, for the vlog, I've got quite a lot of things to sow. So I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah. Fab. I'll see you then, guys.